What up, guys? Your boy Quake, and it seems like there has been a left turn when it comes to Drake's beefs with literally, it seems like, everybody in the music industry. We're not just talking Kendrick Lamar here. We're talking The Weeknd. We're talking Rick Ross, Future, A$AP Rocky, Metro Boomin, a bunch more. So there's something that's popped off, and it's not looking good. The timing of these incidents would insinuate that maybe something is going on relating to all these Drake battles and disses that he's got going on. And the reason why I say this is because a couple of weeks ago, The Weeknd's manager, Cash XO's house ended up getting shot at, and the security guard got injured. The same thing has just now recently happened to Drake's Toronto mansion, where the house got shot up and the security guard ended up getting injured. So let's go over the Drake thing first, and then I'm going to talk about the Weeknd shooting, and then I'm going to talk about how these things are tied together. The Weeknd and Drake have been taking shots at each other when it comes to songs, and The Weeknd ended up dissing Drake quite a few times on the We Still Don't Trust You album with Future and Metro Boomin. The more specific diss I'm referring to is the track All to Myself off the album We Still Don't Trust You. The Weeknd said this, and these are shots aimed at Drake. He said, "I promise that I got your back. Oh, now look how we moving, baby. They could never diss my brothers, baby, when they got leaks in they operation. I thank God I never signed my life away, and we never do the big talk." Now, this is where he involved other people in Drake's camp that are actually street people, street guys that, get involved into street stuff. He said this, "They're shooters making TikToks, got us laughing in the Lambo. I promise that I got your back." Who is he referring to when he said their shooters are making TikToks? Well, Baca, not nice. Baca is Drake's muscle. He's security. He's not really official security, but he's the street guy for Drake in Toronto. He helps, kind of maneuver things for Drake when it comes to anything involved in the streets and gets his back. Well, Baca is somebody who's very active on TikTok, and The Weeknd decided to clown him for that, saying like, this guy's supposed to be a street guy, a shooter, but he's out here making these funny looking TikToks. Well, when you diss somebody, already the battles, when people diss each other, when main artists diss each other, it's pretty bad. It starts to get really ugly. But when you involve other people that either don't rap or are just street people, then things start to escalate. And this is where I felt like, okay, this is not going to go well. It's not going to end up well. And that's exactly what's happening here. Then Drake, after that track came out, literally about a day or two later, dropped the Push-Ups track. And on this track, he addresses The Weeknd. And this is what he says. "Yeah, I'm the sixth god. I'm the front runner. Y'all guys' manager was Chubb's little blunt runner." Who is he talking about? The Weeknd's manager, Cash XO. He's saying, my guy, Chubbs, my security guy, he's the little guy that just runs around and does stuff for him. He says, "Claim the six and you boys ain't even come from it." Now he's testing The Weeknd and saying, you're not really from where I'm from. And then he says this, "And when you guys got rich, you had to run from it. Cash blowing Abel," which is Weeknd's bread, "out here tricking. Things we do for women, he doing for guys." He says, "Jet whips, chains, wicked, wicked, wicked. Spend it like you trying to F. Boy, you tripping. Boy, you tripping." So it's a little, shots at mainly The Weeknd's manager. And, he's saying basically your camp is full of a bunch of clowns because, The Weeknd attacked Drake's camp with Baca. So now it's involving other people's camps, and this is where things can get ugly very quickly. Then after that track came out, literally about a week later, probably 7 to 8 days later, on April 29th, The Weeknd's manager, Cash XO's house in Los Angeles ends up getting shot up. So let's go over the article. On early Monday morning, April 29th, a security guard was shot in Encino, Cali, a home linked to the music executive and The Weeknd's co-manager, Amir Cash Emilion. LAPD sent Billboard a statement regarding the 2:30 a.m. incident. The victim was inside a guard shack when he heard several gunshots and discovered he had been struck. The suspects, 3 male, fled from the location. LAFD responded and transported the victim to a local hospital in unknown condition. A resident spoke to KTLA and explained that the affluent neighborhood is a quiet and rarely experiences violent incidents like this. "I'm sure whatever happened here was captured on security camera," she said. "Unfortunately, that can bring danger with it too." Police told KTLA that Ismailian was inside at the home at the time of the incident, but it's unclear whether the suspects ever entered the residence. A separate report from KTTV notes that the wounded guard placed the call to police and identified the suspects as 3 men in hoodies and masks. Though the unarmed guard was in a critical condition at the hospital, he will make a full recovery. Sources tell Billboard that this was an attempted home invasion. So when this happened, you know what? People said, hey, and I said this too. Hey, it could be just a coincidence, right? In LA, there's a lot of robbery type incidents and a lot of really rich neighborhoods. That's just LA is known for that. I mean, there've been so many celebrities that have been, have home invasions happen to their house just because I guess that's just the nature in LA over there. But, the timing of it just is very, very weird. And now we have a Drake incident at Drake's Toronto home. A shooting's happened with the same thing with a security guard getting hurt. Now, before this shooting incident happened, Drake released a response diss track called Family Matters. And in the second verse, he says this: if Drake's shooter's doing TikToks, realest shooter in your gang, that's P's brother, yelling, getting shit shot. Can't listen to stick talk and falsetto, save it for hip hop. You don't even be at home, dog. You a souvenir out the gift shop. So Drake is responding to the TikTok shooters thing even more directly now and saying, if my shooter's doing TikToks, what are your street guys doing? They're not going to get anything shot, because when he mentioned P's brother, he's talking about Preem. His brother Gilla is close with The Weeknd. So he's saying, listen, they're brothers with each other, the literal brothers. So he's not going to, your hardest guy in your crew isn't going to retaliate at my people because they're brothers. They're close to each other. So you got this hard guy who's really affiliated with me, because he's related to him. So that's his take on it, and says, listen, you guys ain't going to do nothing, man. And, well, it looks like they called him out on that bluff. And I'm not saying that, hey, The Weeknd has something to do with the shooting and that, The Weeknd's going to be tied to this in any way. I mean, who knows? It could be something related to Kendrick Lamar. It could just be something random happen at that moment, which I highly doubt, because Drake's lived at the location, and everybody knows he's lived at the location basically since the house has been built, which was, I think, 2018 or something like that. So, the fact that it's happening now with all this beef stemming, something has to be related to it. Let's go over the article, what happened. The Toronto AP report, police are investigating a shooter outside rapper Drake's mansion in Toronto that left a security guard seriously wounded. Authorities did not confirm whether Drake was at the home at the time of the shooting, but said his team is cooperating. The shooting happened around 2 a.m. Tuesday in an affluent Bridle Path neighborhood of Toronto. So same time that Cash XO's house got shut up at 2:30 at night. Same thing with Drake's at 2 at night. Toronto Police Inspector Paul said video of the shooting had been recovered and the guard who was wounded remains hospitalized. In recent weeks, Drake has been engaged in a rap feud with Kendrick Lamar, with each artist dropping diss tracks against each other. Paul was asked whether the feud was a factor in the shooting, and he said while investigators are aware of it, it is too early to discuss motive.
This morning at about 2 a.m., police were called to a shooting at the residence behind me here. When officers arrived, they located a male who was suffering from an apparent gunshot wound. That male was taken to hospital in serious condition. That person was working, apparently, as a security guard at the residence. He was standing outside of the gates in front of the residence when the shooting occurred. We have individuals who obviously performed the shooting who were seen in a vehicle. I do not have a description of the vehicle or the suspects at this time. Again, it's very early on in the investigation. I cannot speak to a motive at this time because it's so early, but as we get information, we will share it with you.
All of the police don't think, it has anything to do with Kendrick Lamar. I do think it has something to do with The Weeknd. That's just my theory in it. There's no proof of it yet. This is all allegedly. I'm not accusing anybody of anything, but once you start bringing in, street guys and they, start claiming that they're not really shooters, they're making TikToks, well, that tests some of these people. And, Drake's out here saying, you know what, you guys aren't going to get shit shot. Well, after that track came out, literally 4 or 5 days later, boom, something happens at your house where you got yellow tape out there. Now the question is, what are the police going to find when it comes to The Weeknd's manager's house getting shot up in LA and Drake's house getting shot up? Is there a connection there? Are they going to find information about these people that, hey, they have ties? Because it's going to look very, very crazy if, these guys hired people to start getting people shot up. It's going to be very bad. And this is where we didn't want it to go, right? We want a lot of these rap battles just to be rap battles and just people to make good diss tracks and then everybody to get along after. 90% of the time, that's not reality. Now, sometimes that does happen. You make diss tracks, laugh it off, move on from the situation. But when it starts to get ugly, family members start to get mentioned, kids start to get mentioned, other people, street people that don't want to be involved in this stuff unless they have to be, start to get mentioned and get clowned on for making TikToks. And your shooters is related to my friend, so he's not really a shooter. He's soft. It's going to get really bad like this. I think because of that TikTok line that the Weeknd put out there, initially got the shooting to happen to Weeknd's manager's house. And then when Drake said yelling, getting shit shot on his Family Matters track, well, then that happened at his house. So it's going to be interesting to see if Drake actually, makes a song about this or talks about it, because there's supposed to be a track that was allegedly supposed to come out today, but because of the shooting at Drake's house, Drake or Kendrick postponed it. Prayers out to the security guards, man. Both of them, even at the Weeknd's house, Weeknd's manager's house, and Drake's house, both got hit and both were in critical condition. So, they got lives, they got a family to feed. So it's unfortunate. I know it's their job to protect, but hey, man, we don't want to see people getting killed and hurt over just diss tracks. So we'll keep you guys posted and see if anything updates as time goes on.
That's it for today's video. If you guys want to support this channel further, you can do so at patreon.com/diverse mentality. For just $3 a month, you can get my videos uncut and raw the way I intended them to be, but couldn't because of YouTube. Plus, you also get access to our Discord community, where we have a great community talking about hip-hop and various other things. It's very dope. So only $3 a month. I'd really appreciate the support. Also follow us on social media at QuakeGW and at Diverse Mentality. Thank you so much for the support, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.